Don't cross in front of my light again, or you are gonna get slapped, slap, slap. It is slap, slapped in the face. Yeah, slap, 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 and slap. I say it'll slap. Okay.
These are the best two-player games. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick.
I'm Mike.
We are the Brothers Murph, and today we're talking about our top 10 games that are best at two-player. So now these are not two-player only games.
Which we love.
Which we do love. We've done a list for that. There'll be a link up here for that one. These are two-player only games. These are games that you can play at higher player counts.
But don't.
But, you know, don't.
I mean, you can.
Oh, you can.
But we prefer it the other way.
Many of them are fine at higher player counts, but there's many reasons of why we might like it at 2. It might be like significantly shorter. We might think it just plays better. It might be one of those things where it's like, this is a two-player game. Stop trying to make it not a two-player game.
Be honest
kind
about
of
what you got
situation.
here. Be honest what you got.
And over on our Patreon, there's going to be another 10 games that we personally think are best at 2, so make sure to check out that if you haven't already. And just vibing, let's get into it.
Number 10, the first one on our list here, falls into the category of this is a two-player game that they made it so you can play 3 or 4 player, but it clearly was designed as a two-player game. This is Decorum.
Yeah, and that's why it's number 10 is because this is a two-player game in my eyes.
Yes.
You know, there's certain other games like Baseball Highlights 2045 where I'm like, there's 3 and 4 ways to play. It's a two-player game. But Decorum, it does play well at those higher player counts, but it is just way too hard in my opinion.
Yeah, so this is a game where you are trying to decorate your house collectively, but you have specific ways that you need things to be, basically rules for you to be happy that the house needs to have, meaning certain, an antique in this room, only red in that, whatever the things may be.
No blue rooms upstairs.
Nothing like that. And so you have to find a way to place everything in the house in such a way that everybody is satisfied.
Yes.
And this is a game where there is an answer to the puzzle.
Yes.
There is a way for this all to happen, and you're trying to figure out how to get there. So we know this was designed as a two-player game because in the box you have all these different scenarios, and there's like 20-odd scenarios for 2 players, and then a handful of ones you can play 3 or 4 player. Now this is a game where you're going to be placing out a tile onto the house and then basically asking everybody, like, what do you think? I just brought in this lamp. What do you think? And people can say passive-aggressive things like, I love that, or I despise your choices. You can't say why, though, but I have to try to infer based on that, like, okay, what about this doesn't work for you?
Every time we change this room to red, Nick immediately changes it back to blue, so maybe this room has to be blue.
Yeah, but I know there has to be 2 red items, so maybe the painting of the room doesn't matter, but we'll do this. And so you're trying to get to the bottom of that puzzle. With 3 and 4 players, when we played it, it just is incredibly difficult to get to it where everybody's goals are satisfied.
I feel like a 4-player game that took so long, and we just stopped eventually because we were just like
getting nowhere.
It just kept being like, taking this, someone took it out, put it over here, someone took it, and it was just like
we
eventually
got too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, it really does, and it does play at those player counts, and it's fine, but it's meant to be a 2-player game, and I just want to play it at 2. I love this game, but I really just want to play it at 2.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing is like we really enjoy it at 2, so let's just play the game the way it was intended.
Yeah.
Next up is Lorenzo il Magnifico, which is a game that does scale based on the way you're playing in terms of what spaces are available on the board and things like that. So
you're more passionate about this one,
I will fully admit that I think the reason I prefer to play this at 2 is because of a skill issue or lack thereof
that's a valid
with
reason.
me and my play. So what I found with a higher player count game is you're basically building an engine of these different cards that you can then, depending on what they are, you can activate kind of your production rows and do this stuff to kind of score. There's all these things you're kind of trying to manage, and it's a fairly tight resource management game. And it's a worker placement game with a kind of tightness of the resource worker, the worker placement spots. And in a 3 and 4 player game, I find it extra difficult because these cards are in these kind of ascending columns, and everyone's, it's kind of the market that's available for everybody. And it's hard enough for me to cobble together a subpar strategy if it's just me and one other player playing the game. And now when you have a 3rd and 4th person potentially taking the card I want, it just makes it so I'm like, I really feel like I can't place a worker anywhere. I'm out of resources and stuff, which again, skill issue on my part. This is a game I really enjoy playing, and I'm just very aware of how bad I am at it, but like I'm trying to get better and learn. And in a 2-player game, there's a little less
pressure.
yeah, extra stuff going on. It's still a really tight, kind of taut experience with resources and the spaces available and stuff like that. But I feel like there's just like one fewer thing going on, which allows me to try to like use the wee bit of brain power I have on my strategy. So at least for now, I do prefer that at kind of 2-player.
I think that's valid, personally.
You know.
Next up is going to be Gloomhaven. Now, Gloomhaven is... There's going to be another one on this list that's kind of in a similar situation where it's like this game that plays very well solo. You can also play at higher player counts. Sure. But 2-player just feels like the sweet spot. We've played this game at higher player counts, like digitally and things like that. I think a little bit physically as well. And it just always seems to sing at 2. One cool thing about Gloomhaven is that all the characters are very different. So it's always nice to be able to see how those different characters kind of work together. Mm-hmm. And again, things kind of scale with the player count. So it's also one of those things where it's like if you have more players, it's not necessarily inherently easier, but there is also like more going on, more to do. So it's always that kind of balance between like having that variety and being able to see the different characters, see how they work together, but not also making it too much. And that's why I think Gloomhaven ends up falling good at 2, because you do want that. Also, it's one of those situations where it's like when you're playing this game solo, it's just like all of the focus is on you. And it's like, it's kind of nice to be able to work with someone to help out with this various scenario. Oh, I'll go here and do this while you can go over here and do this. And it just feels better, you know, in that kind of situation.
I think it gives you a good feel of like, you know, a teamwork situation and stuff. And there's also just like the logistical aspect of like, if you're trying to get through the whole game, it's going to be a lot easier to try to coordinate with one other person versus 3 other people.
Yeah, for sure. If you're trying to play it physically,
And so like for us, it's just like, this is the way that we have largely played this game and we really enjoy it. There are some characters that are probably better with 3 or 4 players, but like largely they all work great at all player counts. And so I just really enjoyed like the time, you know, we played, we really got to know each other's character because I'm only thinking about myself and yours and what you can do. And I feel like we really got, you know, it's kind of like this dynamic duo feel, which it felt really cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I don't feel like I was missing out something by not having like a larger party.
No.
So that's for our money. It's just gonna be quicker and easier to get done at 2-player.
Yeah. Number 7's interesting because the dynamics between the characters is really interesting to see higher player counts, but it increased a lot of time and more stuff going on. This is Slay the Spire, the board game.
Yes.
Now, I will say, this is our good friend Jamie over on BGG and Foster the Meeple did a solo play of this, but the point of Slay the Spire, the board game, which of course is based off of the video game.
Which is based off of the erotic novel.
Exactly, of the same name. God, it's hot. But it's one of those things where the point of the board game is that you can now play it co-op. Right. You know what I mean?
It's more fun with friends. That's what the book taught us.
Yeah, exactly. It's more fun with friends. That's what the book taught us. And so Slay the Spire is a game where you're moving up through this spire, you're fighting enemies, you're basically trying to get to the top of the first act, the first spire or whatever, and you fight the boss, you go to Act 2, and then eventually Act 3. If you can get all the way through Act 3 without dying, that's how you win the game. It is a video game. The game is based off of cards. It's just a deck builder. It's already kind of a board game. So they made it into a board game, but the thing is the video game is a solo video game, unless you use like a mod or something like that. So it's just you playing, but in the board game, you have the same characters and each person's playing a different character.
Yeah.
And so you get to like work off of each other. And this game is also very cooperative, where in the game, you have kind of like rows of enemies, and your row of enemy is attacking you once the enemies go. But you can attack anyone. So there's a ton of cooperation in the game where you're like, oh, I'll take out this person because this round, this character is hitting really hard.
Yeah.
So let's all focus on that. I can weather this storm that's happening to me. And it's really cooperative. I feel like the solo game, you kind of lose that, and then it's kind of like, well, just play the video game at that point.
Yes.
But then at higher player counts, there's then even way more going on, and I feel like it starts to get kind of hard to manage all of that, and it's like kind of, again, that kind of Gloomhaven.
There's a lot of bookkeeping with the game anyway.
Yeah.
And at 3 and 4 players, it's just really ramping that up. Not that it would be an epic time to play, but the amount of time it takes.
Yeah.
2-player, I feel like, gives you an experience that is unique from the video game.
Yes.
And it's a really good cooperative experience, but probably just a little bit more realistic to get played. And certainly for us, like if we're going to play this, 3 and 4 is just going to be, it's going to be a lot. It would be epic and awesome.
Yes, and I still want to do it, and I'd still enjoy it. But if I'm
But the
gonna
realists
choose,
in us are like,
Yes.
this is going to be a 2-player thing. If
yeah,
anything.
if I'm gonna choose, I'm probably just gonna choose 2-player. It's still gonna be great at all the player counts, including solo. But it's like if I'm choosing what it's best at 2. Number 6 is gonna be 5 Tribes.
I know.
5 Tribes is
So
great.
good.
It's just so good. It's so good. One, the turn structure in 5 Tribes gets a lot simpler at 2. Because this is a game where you will bid for what turn order you want to be in. And in a normal game, you're bidding in what order you want to be in. In a 2-player game, you each have 2 kind of turn pawns.
Yeah.
And so it's not necessarily always just back and forth, but the bidding is less, I don't know, complicated and all this kind of stuff. It's my least favorite part of the game, frankly. But one of the main reasons why I like 5 Tribes best at 2 is because, frankly, just the board state changes less from turn to turn.
It's a little easier to kind of get a plan for your turn.
This is one of those games, it's a Mancala style game where you're going to pick up a group of meeples on a tile. There's a bunch of tiles out there, and you're going to drop them, and wherever you drop the last meeple, that's the action tile you're going to activate, and you also get to take up all the meeples of that color that you dropped on there. The problem is in a 4-player game, by the time it gets back around to you, the board might look massively different.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. This game, people complain about the AP in this game, analysis paralysis, and one of the main reasons is because you can't plan for your turn, especially in higher player counts, because you don't know what the board's going to look like.
I don't even think it's like, oh, people's fault. It's just that like things have changed so
It's
much,
still
you have to
people's
take a
fault.
second to at least look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I enjoy the higher player counts and all the things come with it, but I don't want to say randomness, but it becomes more tactical because you have to kind of go with what you got on the fly in a 2-player game. Not to say that someone couldn't go and take the move you were about to do. It definitely happens.
Sure.
But, I feel like I can get, option A, option B, and option C. I'm going to get to do one of those because, there's not that much time between turns. The other thing that's kind of cool with having the 2 action pawns that you're bidding for is that it gives the opportunity for you to take 2 turns in a row.
Get a double turn, which is powerful.
Which is really cool.
Yes.
I really enjoy that aspect of the bidding in a 2-player game. We used to just kind of go back and forth, but I actually like the bidding now, especially because the ability to maybe take a double turn and the opportunities that provides, whereas in a 3 or 4-player game, that will never be a thing. You only ever have one action. So that's kind of cool. You also get to take over more of the board in a 2-player game. You have more of your camels to put out.
It's nice to score points.
And it's nice to score points. So you're going to just get a butt ton of points, which we always enjoy. Makes us feel smart and whatnot. So yeah, I agree though with the being able to plan a little bit more reliably ahead of time.
Yeah.
I think just helps the game, stay smooth. You're moving. You're taking turns often. Staying engaged with the game, which I think helps you also visualize a puzzle a little better because I'm doing stuff to manipulate it more often and kind of setting myself up for the next turn, which is maybe harder in a higher player count game, again, because more people might take and move things that you've been trying to place in a certain area
say the least.
all along.
Number 5 is going to be Too Many Bones. This is actually kind of like Gloomhaven, at least for me personally, of why I particularly really like this game of 2-player. Too Many Bones is a chip theory game, and a lot of chip theory games, I would even say most chip theory games, are played mostly solo.
Yes.
They are built off the back of solo gamers. Solo gamers really love chip theory games, as do I. I mostly play most chip theory games solo.
So they very much design with the expectation that this is going to be played solo
At
and
least a
make
lot.
sure that's going to be a great experience, which they, I think, largely succeed
Yeah.
at. So.
And Too Many Bones does play great solo, and I mostly play Too Many Bones solo. Honestly, for me, one of the main reasons I like Too Many Bones at 2 players specifically is 3 and 4 player. Again, it's getting longer, it's getting bigger, it's getting sometimes harder. It kind of elongates
the game will
whole thing.
scale with the amount of players, so like the things are coming in. I feel like it does make it a lot harder.
Yeah, it sure does. I know there's a scaling of like how, because on each gear lock, if you're playing these gear locks, it tells you solo difficulty and co-op difficulty. And there are 2 different difficulties because some are really difficult solo, but like are not that difficult in co-op. And so they do really think about those kinds of things.
Which is cool.
But in Too Many Bones, you take a gear lock, a character, and you are building out this character. They are all wildly different. They are completely have their own tech trees and dice trees and all this kind of stuff. And you are going through all these kind of like little scenarios, eventually trying to find the tyrant and then defeat the tyrant. That's kind of what you're doing. The reason why I like this game 2-player is kind of, we talked about a little bit with Gloomhaven, was like when you're playing solo, all of it is on you. And what I mean by that specifically is the board in Too Many Bones, like in Gloomhaven, you're sometimes going through a big cave.
Yeah.
The board in Too Many Bones is like this little board.
Well, 4x4 abstracted battle mat.
And if you're playing solo, every single enemy is targeting you every single turn of every single scenario.
And the game scales, so there will be less,
Yes,
typically
for sure.
less strong stuff around. But if there's like 3 or 4 things that
It's just like
you're taking a lot of
unrelenting.
hits.
Yeah, and it's just like, and it is a total, that's why it can be very different difficulty-wise for solo play. But in 2 players or higher play accounts, particularly 2 players, Mike could be like, oh, I'm going to move over here and get in there where, and that way
Yeah.
they'll hit me instead of you.
I really enjoy that aspect of the board management.
Exactly. And so it makes these kinds of games, in my opinion, more fun, which is why a lot of these games, it's kind of like, oh, you can really help each other out. Why 2-player, I mean, I feel like a lot of co-op games tend to work well at 2-player as opposed to solo. But this one is mostly because of that. It's just like when I play it solo, I'm just like every round, I'm just getting freaking walloped every single time. And I'm like, God, it's just so nice to have a little bit of a break with 2 players. We're like, okay, I'll go take the hit so you can stand back and heal a little bit and like shoot from afar. But when you're just playing it solo, it's all on you. And then 3 and 4 players, again, it just kind of gets bogged down a little bit.
Totally
but
agree.
still love it all player counts, but it just feels best at 2. This is the first size-based one.
This is. So we've talked many times on this channel about the size of board games getting rather large and it being sometimes difficult to table a game at 4-player because everyone has their player area and stuff like that. Now, Space Station Phoenix is a game that almost tricks you because it starts off very humble.
Yeah.
You start off with a little hub of a space station, but ideally you're going to be building out that space station so your player area kind of grows and grows as the game goes. You also have a fleet of cards that are your ships, which are your action cards.
Yep.
And I think we each have like 9 of those. So at a 4-player game,
It's huge.
you have a big thing of cards. There's also a large menu of these kind of sectors of the space station you're building that are available. They have to kind of go somewhere. And ideally, they're kind of splayed out so you can see all the sectors at once.
Yeah, because you can choose any of them.
Yes, and we have never had a situation where we can afford the table space to splay them out. We simply make a stack, and you can pick up the stack and look through it, and it's fine.
There's still 9 different ones.
There's still 9 stacks of tiles, so this is just a game that has a lot of pieces and things, which is super duper cool. Did I hear anything? Was that that door?
Maybe. Oh, in fact, okay, I was like, did someone come in here?
I couldn't tell it was someone outside.
Sorry, we're a filming studio, so it was like, we're like, was that our door? Or was that a different door? You
Oh, you're haunted.
Thanks, bro. Sorry.
Video?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. I'm just like, all right, bro.
Leave us alone.
Sorry, delivery person.
Delivery person came. That scared me. I was just like, I felt imperiled. I about almost grabbed our sword over there. Yeah, so this is just a game where
There's like a central board,
there's
too,
a central
and stuff.
board.
It's humongous.
It adds up to a lot.
Yes.
And so we find that in a 2-player game, it still takes up plenty of table space. Your table is not wanting for much more.
No, it sure
So
ain't.
we like to play this at 2-player because then we can kind of display stuff in a little bit, easier manner and see everything.
And even then,
that's
it's still
going on.
hard to fit on a table.
It is, yes. And so the thing that, at a higher player count you might make an argument for is that there's a diplomacy board that you get bonuses when other people take actions or if you do too.
Yeah.
So you could be missing out on that, but it's not that impactful. And at 2-player, you still get to do that quite a bit because you can activate it yourself.
Yeah.
The
The main drawback is other people's ships.
Yeah, you can use other people's ships, but this is a game that we like this for. We like this about the game. There's only like 4 types of actions.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, okay, like maybe you have a better version of this ship, but it's not something I can't overcome by you not being there. So again, 2-player, it just kind of fits on the table the best.
Yeah, it's really size.
And yeah, again, still takes up plenty of space. This is one purely like, it's just physically easier to manage.
And we played this game at Dice Tower West 4-player recently, and it was still very fun and stuff like that. But I was just like, this is big. And then on top of that, stuff's so far away, you can't ever see anything because you're like, wait, what's that section?
Yeah.
Can I see those real quick? It's just
Yeah.
like,
It's-
so play it at 2. It's such a good game. Please play this game. No one plays this game. It's great.
It's such a good game.
But it's just like, it's physically very large and really spreads out very big. And so it just logistically works better at 2. 3, I feel like we've talked about this one a couple times in this respect, and this is Castles of Burgundy.
So people are going to add us on this one.
I'm sure people are don't add us. Feel free to add us.
Don't
in the comments.
add us, man.
Don't add us in the comments.
All right.
Look, I know that higher player counts, you see more of the tiles.
I don't care about that.
I don't care.
I don't think that's a good thing.
I just don't care.
In a 4-player game, okay, this is everyone's argument. In a
just don't
4-player
care.
game, there's more tiles on the board.
Yes.
That you can take and stuff.
Yes.
And in fact, in a 4-player game, if I'm not mistaken, you will go through all the tiles in the game. And some people, I get it, are trying to plan for a certain thing. They want to wait for this knowledge tile to come out or whatever.
I like not knowing.
I like the fact that you're not going to see everything. And from game to game, what is available does change.
I agree.
Variety is the spice of life,
right,
man.
baby.
The Slay Aspire erotic novel taught me that.
That's right.
Taught me so many things. Algebra. And so, for our money, it's like the 2-player game is simpler than the 3-player side, where like sometimes you're placing a castle, sometimes you're placing a mine. The 2-player game is just nice and nice. The kind of 2019 version I think we have has one side is the 3 and 4-player game, one side's a 2-player. So you just flip it to the 2-player side and get going. It's just easier and simpler. And for our money, I know there are people who disagree.
Yeah.
They are wrong.
I know, right?
I enjoy the gameplay, the snappy turns, getting back to your turn quickly, the speed at which the game moves, and the little bit of uncertainty about what tiles are going to come out from game to game. I know that can mess with your plans, and that's valid and stuff, but for me, I'm like, it doesn't add up to enough for me to care.
Yep. Exactly.
The other upsides are just still much better than the couple downsides. Or again, I see them as opportunities.
Yes.
So
I like not seeing everything. I generally don't like games where I see every card in every game.
Yeah.
It just in general. I mean, even my favorite game does that. Prodigals Club. You see every card every single game. I still wish there was a way.
I wish there was like a little expansion for that game.
One extra card,
Even
so that
one.
you're not always seeing every single thing. I like that. I like to have to plan around that. And Castle is better too. Fight us. Number 2, we've talked about it, I think a couple times. I think it popped up on a list like this before. And this is just, here's the thing, y'all.
Pure greed.
Pure greed. Scoring points is fun, and that's why Dice Miner's best at 2. Here's the thing. I played it somewhat recently, a higher player count. It was great. It's just better at 2. Because this is a game where at 2-player, you are scoring like triple the points
Yes.
you do otherwise.
Yes.
Because there's no scaling in this game, Mike.
There's no scaling in this game.
At
This
all.
is a game where you are going to be building a mountain of dice. And you're going to be drafting dice from that. And there's different types of dice that will, score gems or make runs of dice values and things like that. But like you said, the game does not scale.
Which is usually a bad thing.
It's like 20 dice to build the mountain, and regardless of player count, you have those many dice. You're doing 3 rounds with that, and that is the game.
Yes.
In a 2-player game, that means you're getting literally like triple the dice because there's 2 fewer people to take things from you. And so you're getting this big hoard of dice, and from round to round, the dice you collect, you keep and re-roll. So by the last round, you have a fat pile. Now, it's probably a little less strategic as a result because you just have so much stuff. Of course, you can build your runs, but it's a filler game that's fun, and I like just putting together redonkulous high scores versus winning with like 65.
Yeah.
I'd rather win with like 200.
Yeah.
That's just cooler.
Yeah, like there's more tactical natures and strategery, as Mike said, like with higher player counts. Because again, you can only draft dice that are at the top of the mountain. Sometimes you can draft dice from the side. That's a little special thing. So like there's, I hope they don't take that dice. Darn, they did. Okay, now, so there's more of that. But again, it's just like straight greed, straight gluttony. I want them points, baby.
Points on points
and it's just so fun the last round where you just have like 50 dice. It's amazing. So many.
When you just get to pick them all up and go,
it's so much fun. It's like one of those things we talked about in this sense where it's just like, it's just fun to score points. It's like you'll never ever, give me a Stefan Feld Castle Burger. Give me a point salad. Get me scoring bunches of points over 10 points. I want to score 100 points, not 10 points.
Yep.
This is a game, you score more points at 2-player. It's great because of it.
Hey, I see you, man. I see you. You're trying to watch the #1 pick and you haven't even subscribed? You're insane.
That's insane.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Why don't you go ahead and subscribe if you want to see #1? All right, we're out here talking to our subscribers, if you don't mind. Okay? Rude of you to interrupt.
Also, yeah, this is what
That's what it looks
That's
like,
what it looks
okay?
like.
Yeah, cinema's a lie. Narnia's not real.
Number one really could be a category of games, and this is
Yes.
going to be Ark Nova. Games about Zeus.
Yeah.
Always are better too, but this
So
is
many.
really a kind of a umbrella game for big, heavy Euro games that aren't really better at higher player
That
counts.
aren't high interaction games,
Yeah,
which
they're-
I would consider Ark Nova to be.
Yes, exactly. It's not high interaction. So it's like these are games that like at higher player counts, they're not really better, but they are longer.
So much longer.
And I think
So much longer.
so much longer.
than you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
We have data on this particular game. to
There's
prove
so many
this.
of these kinds of games. Ark Nova is one that have played like 4-player games that were like 3 to 4 hours, so long. Whereas a 2-player game, we can bang it out in like an hour and 15 minutes, right?
It's great.
So it's like this is, in terms of strategy, tactics, all that kind of stuff, is it better at higher player counts? I don't know, maybe. But what it is a lot longer. And this really just falls into this category of so many Euro games that I love. Some of my favorite games that aren't better, or even if they are better, the extra time doesn't make up for its betterness at
The
those higher.
Imperium games are another great example of like, Nick and I, the types of Euros we particularly like
Yes.
are fairly solitary
Yeah, multiplayer
in nature,
solitaire, a lot of
multiplayer
times.
solitaire, which is great. I want to be at the table
Yeah.
with you, but I don't want to be with you in the thing we're doing. I want to be near, I want to see it, I want to beat that thing, but I don't want to burn it down to the ground. So as a result, if you're playing 4-player, it just gets
Yeah, it
longer
just stays
and longer, and it's not enhancing the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
per
if it's
se.
not making the game so significant, and sometimes you're like, no, it's this much better at a higher play count, great, then it's worth the time. But I feel like there's a ton of games, Ark Nova is very, very much one of them, where like the extra time is not worth it being better, if it even is better. I feel like a lot of times they're not really better, they're exactly the same in terms of how good the gameplay is, so just play it at 2 because it's just shorter.
Yeah.
I love Ark Nova, it's one of my favorite games of all time. But I really want to play it too, because then it's just like, I can get it to the table actually.
Here's a life hack for all of you
Yeah.
out there. If you're playing this game at 4-player, shame on you. But if you are, do yourself a favor. There's a break track.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of resets your workers and stuff. If you're playing the game at 4-player, set that thing at the 3-player mark.
Yeah, always go one
because
player
that
down.
means the brakes are gonna trigger a little bit quicker, and that's really kind of the main thing that propels the game forward. So you're welcome. Try it. You're welcome. I'll take $5 if you'd like that.
Boom.
Venmo us
Hit us.
at the Murphs.
Nonetheless, that is our top 10. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know down in the comments below some games you think you are best at 2. You prefer them at 2. 2-player is a very popular player count. A lot of people play with like their friend, just a single friend or a spouse or a kid or something like that.
It's a good player count, man.
It's just a good player count, and it's one that most people can get, right? It's not always easy to get 4 players. It's usually you can get 2, right?
Someone in a comment recently said we need to get more friends, and that way you don't have to just place up 2-player.
And that hurt.
That hurt. We would like to get more friends. They don't want to be friends with us. It takes 2 to tango.
You know who my favorite friends are? Our patrons.
Boom!
Segues. Make sure to check out the other top 10 over on Patreon.
Who needs friends when you have patrons,
That's
folks?
right.
Many of them are actually our friends.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for being here. We really appreciate it. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that kind of stuff, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching that video. Best at 2. You know what's best at 2? You. Or something. I don't know. That didn't make much sense. Thank you so much for watching this one. Make sure to check out the other top 10s we have. Subscribe and like if you haven't already. We really appreciate you. Let us know what your favorite 2-player game is. Do it, you butt.